Hey guys, DPG, hackhollywood.com, private coaching, etc., actor helper. You know, it's funny when you start to actually compare yourself in your own mind to some of the greatest minds that are out there. And honestly, I don't truly think of myself as one of the great minds out there, but I do hear a lot of the same things that come out of my mind because I'm not somebody who studies what other people do. I hear what they say most of the time because I'm interested to hear what they have to say, but I don't adapt very often what they say because I think I have really, really strong common sense, and I have changed my mind and I have added new ideas in the past to what I do. And I hear some quotations and they're brilliant, but at the same time I'm hearing what they have to say, I'm also thinking about what's wrong about what they have to say. And so I haven't really heard too many people who I agree with wholeheartedly. But I thought today I would compare myself to Jordan Peterson just because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, by writing Jordan Peterson in the title of this video, people may tune in because he has a lot of interesting things to say. And also I think it may attract people who hold the kind of viewpoint of stop listening to all of the politically correct stuff and trying to live your life the way social media says you should, otherwise you will be cast into the flames and beheaded, but start living yourself according to common sense principles that each individual needs to hold themselves accountable for. Okay, and that's what social media doesn't do. It says do something, but there's nobody holding the person saying you should be this way to any type of standard. Like, it's really easy to call somebody else out, but then how's your life? Is your house in order? And what kind of order is it in? And is it sustainable? And to me, that is the number one thing. I don't talk about it, but that is the current through which everything I say runs, whether it has to do with actors or whether it's to do with my corporate clients or my university clients, whoever I'm talking to. The one thing that I think I can ask someone if they want to know what they are doing, if it's right or not, or if they want to know what I'm talking about, is that something they should listen to or follow? Is it sustainable? Meaning, not meaning like if I cut down this many trees, how many will grow back? But meaning if everybody else in the society behaved this way, would society thrive, survive, or collapse? And most people, in fact, this is the way to answer this is the question you got to ask yourself, okay? People don't like standing out. People don't like saying, hey, what you're doing is wrong, unless it's, of course, behind the veil of social media, in which case we're calling people out for the most ridiculous things and saying it's wrong. But they don't ask themselves if what they're saying is wrong. Is it sustainable if we continue to behave and think this way? So for instance, let's say you think, and I'm not trying to pick on anyone here, okay? I'm just using an example that comes to mind. You know, the whole issue of bathrooms, right? Everybody should have a bathroom. You know, there should be male bathroom, female bathroom, and transgender bathroom. Okay, maybe, I don't know, but is that sustainable? Meaning, does every group that sees themselves differently in some way get their own bathroom or get their own whatever, right? And that's the thing. We live in a democracy, theoretically. I mean, I think our democracy is pretty much dead because we've got this many people owning this much of the wealth. That's not sustainable. Right? But ask yourself that question about any behavior you are thinking about doing. Is it sustainable? Meaning you say, oh, what's wrong with that? You know what the big thing a lot of people say? And I hate to pick on women, but I'm going to pick on women, but probably men too. Men just, don't talk about stuff as much. But when they say, oh, I don't see anything wrong with that. Guess what? That's what everybody said about Hitler. Okay, that's what everybody said about everything. That's what not Churchill, Winston Churchill's predecessor, Neville Chamberlain, said, oh, I don't see what's wrong with that when Hitler started creeping up on different countries and putting his troops at the border and building up his army all over again. They should have just stamped that out from the beginning because they broke a rule. It was in the Treaty of, I don't know, Versailles. Whichever treaty it was in, I don't know. This is where I'm not Jordan Peterson. I don't know all the details. But as soon as somebody breaks a rule, you've got to call them out on it. And because the rule is there for a reason, right? And so when somebody breaks the rule and then somebody else, because they don't want to make enemies, they want everyone to like them, and then they don't want things turned on them, they say, like if I criticize, because I'm a big critic of things like that, like, you know, how is everybody going to have their own bathroom? How's everybody going to have an individual? There's just not enough resources. I'm not necessarily against it in principle. I wish we could all walk around with our own bathrooms. Maybe that's something someone can invent. Maybe I should invent that. Your own personal bathroom. You just stick it down your pants. I guess it's like depends, right? You just go where you are. But this is the question. I don't see what's wrong with it. Well, you should look for what's wrong with it. Try and carry the idea forward and look at where it's going to end up. So if you don't think there's anything wrong with Hitler rebuilding Germany's military, well, ask him, what might they do next? And what situation does that put us in? And if we allow that to keep happening, what might happen next? And that's how you should look at a lot of these questions. And that includes as a professional actor. Ask yourself, when somebody tells you to do something or not do something, and you say, oh, okay, most people aren't criticizing, so they're actually they're the person that's telling people what to do to stay in line. And very few people are like me, and they're going to go, oh, that's crazy. If you do that, then no one will ever know who you are, right? Because let's say if it's postcards, right? Casting directors have been telling people to send them postcards for eternity. Well, I guess ever since there was enough actors that casting directors had to hold them at bay. And I don't know if this applies to where you live, if it's in, you know, if you live in a small country where there's not a lot of casting directors and not a lot of actors, then you probably haven't heard send me a postcard. But this is what they do in LA, this is what they do in New York, I don't know what they do in London, but they have some way of keeping you at bay. So they tell you to send a postcard. Well, then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if I send you a postcard, and you're telling that to every single actor you come across, so everybody is sending you postcards. So this is the whole process, right? Is this sustainable? Is this beneficial? Like, in and of itself, it sounds like not a bad idea. Oh, I don't want to disturb you, so I'll send you a postcard. Okay, but, you know, when you send a postcard to somebody, that's usually the only postcard they get that week, or that month, or that year now. But if you send a casting director a postcard and they are telling every single actor they meet the exact same advice, and they are meeting thousands and thousands of actors because they're doing illegal and immoral casting director workshops because they don't want to actually do their job, which is meet more actors that they've never met before. So that if you all follow that advice, then you're now looking at thousands of postcards, potentially even arriving every single day. How could any casting director look at all those postcards? And even if they looked at them, let's just say it's for a microsecond, let's say it's for 30 seconds, what are they going to do with it? Like, what are they going to do? File it? And then every time a roll comes up, they're going to go through their drawers and pull out 10,000 postcards and go, Or are they going to file them according to gingers, women's, transgender, minorities, short people, tall people? What are they going to do? Like, ask yourself these questions. Every time you get some advice from somebody, you've got to take that advice out to the limits, like to the end. If I keep doing this, is this advice I should follow for the rest of my life to get where I want to go? Not to not offend people. Who cares if you offend someone? If they get offended by you being a professional anything and telling them you can help them and do that profession for them, then they have a problem, not you. They have an ego problem, or they don't understand what their job is. Regardless, ignore what that person has to say because they are idiots. They are absolute idiots. Or maybe they're not idiots. Maybe they're really smart. They know how to keep actors at bay. Maybe you're the idiot for listening to them. Regardless, stop being an idiot. Stop listening to idiots and think for yourself. and go through this process, okay? Ask yourself, whatever advice you get from somebody, is it sustainable? If I take it out to the limit, am I going to keep getting more and more of what I want? Am I going to develop my skills more? Or am I going to meet more people in the industry and develop a relationship with them, assuming every single other person who gets that same advice does the exact same thing that you are doing? Ask yourself that too, right? Not just if you do it, but how many other people? So you really have to ask yourself a lot of tough questions. Okay, sending a postcard, not a bad idea. If thousands of people send postcards, then it's completely useless, right? That's why the whole online submission thing is a joke. It's a complete joke, especially if you're an actor submitting yourself, because guess what? Anybody can do it and everybody does it. So how are you possibly supposed to differentiate yourself from all of the thousands of other people submitting themselves for the exact same role? If these people that you're submitting to don't know who you are, then they just, let's go through the process, okay? Let's go through the process. I'm going to walk you through it right now. And this is why I stopped submitting myself online. I stopped doing everything online. I no longer, not that I ever had a website because I understood that soon enough, but I don't do any of that online stuff because there's no point. You're up against millions of other people. Now I'm getting the tilted, sorry. If you could see my setup, it's really precarious. See, I don't do things right. I do them to get them done because I know myself. And so let's walk through the process of online submissions. Okay, so let's say you or your agent sees a role. They think you're right for it. What do? They pick a picture that sounds like as close to the breakdown as possible. They submit the picture. That's pretty much it. If they really like you or they're really aggressive or, you know, really on the ball, maybe they'll write a note saying, hey, Mr. Producer or Mr. Casting Director or whoever is reading this, take a look at this client because I really feel like they're a good match. That's if you're super, super lucky. But I can almost guarantee you that they're not doing that because I have clients who have some of the best agents on the planet, okay? Top 4 talent agencies in the world. And to try and get them to actually do something other than go click is next to impossible because ironically, even the people at CAA and performing artists agencies and ICM and they are so scared of what's going to happen if they make a mistake and they say something and it turns out to not be true. They would just rather say nothing at all, cross their fingers that somebody brings you in, and that's as far as they're going to go because they are so scared. Now, if the person you're working with is that scared, is that who you really want to listen to? Like, is that who you want to take your advice from? Like someone who's just cowering in their office, scared to actually speak your name out loud to someone who might want to know you can really do this part probably better than anyone else they can think of? Do you really want to work with people like that? Do you want to be somebody like that? So they submit the thing blindly. We're back to the submission thing. They submit the thing blindly. Forget the note because you're not getting a note. We just established that. And what else do they do? What else happens? Well, at the same time, hundreds of other agents around the country, potentially around the world, depending on how wide the search goes, are doing the exact same thing with their actors. And let's say average role, each agent submits 5 roles, 5 people for a role, maybe 4, I don't know, who knows. Let's just say 5. 5 roles times 5 people times, let's say 1,000 agents, if we're going to go worldwide. So that's 5,000 submissions. I don't know if I'm accurate, but let's say it's 5,000. Let's say it's 1,000. You're the casting director. You're getting 1,000 to 5,000 submissions for a project. Maybe you're casting 10 roles on any given casting day, 5 to 10. Who knows? Again, it doesn't really matter, right? Let's say it's 10 because it's easier. So it's 1,000 submissions times 10 roles. We're up to 10,000 people that these people are supposedly looking at every single day that they are casting. How much attention am I getting? Is this a sustainable routine? Is this a sustainable, beneficial activity that I am doing or that my agent is doing? You answer me, and if you can't think of the answer, I will give you 3 seconds before I answer. 2, 1. No, it's not sustainable. It's not going to get you anywhere. Take your money that you're spending on headshots and go buy lottery tickets, because the payoff is probably 10 times better than trying to make money doing online submissions. So anything online is almost inevitably going to fail. And yeah, it works for some people, but just like winning the lottery works for some people, it's not sustainable. Would buying lottery tickets be a sustainable method of making a living? No, of course not. So getting submitted online is not a sustainable way to become an actor. A few people have gotten rich that way, but somewhere along the line, other than the lucky ones, everyone else has to do some work. They've got to get out there, get out the door as soon as possible and as often as possible, and get in front of the people that are making decisions about people like you. And you got to get specific, right? You can't just, everyone's cast, like everyone who's casting, they're on my target list. No, you got to pick the ones that cast the stuff that you're right for, the stuff that you dream about doing, and ideally with people who you're going to have some kind of connection with. Like if you're, a science geek, science fiction geek, then go be a science fiction actor. At least start that way. If you're into romantic comedies, then go connect with people who make romantic comedies. If you're into horror, then go connect with people who make horror. It's so simple. And I mean, you really would have to be an almost idiot to not know this. Now that I'm saying it, it probably is like, yeah, duh, right? But you're probably not doing it either. So, I don't want to say you're stupid, and I don't want to say you're an idiot, but maybe you've been behaving like an idiot. And, how does an idiot behave? Well, they don't think things through, right? So that's really all you have to do. And thinking things through doesn't mean who it's going to make happy and who it's not going to make happy, and who it's going to offend and who it's not going to offend. You don't know whether something will offend somebody or not offend. Bright light. You don't know what will happen unless you try it. So you've got to do things that you think make sense to benefit you and to benefit the people that you want to get involved with. And then they can tell you if it works for them or it doesn't work for them. But never assume you know how someone else will react. And no matter how they react, they're only reacting that way at that time. It has nothing to do with any other time, either in the future, because you don't know what the circumstances of their no to you is. You don't know what the circumstances of their lives are. So it could be something personal going on with them that makes them say no to you, or it may even go on a tirade, right? Get upset at you. Get out of my office. I've heard of actors that were my clients that, they went to visit a casting director, and that casting director got mad at them for saying hello. That's either a crazy person, or that's somebody who's having a bad day, or someone who thinks they're so important and so full of themselves they don't even know what their own job is anymore. They don't think that their job as a casting director is to meet actors. They think that actors are just supposed to pay the money to come to a casting director workshop, which is illegal and immoral, both according to the Attorney General or the state's attorney of the city of Los Angeles and the Screen Actors Guild. No actor shall pay an inducement to anyone, including a casting director or a director or a producer, to try and get considered for a role, okay? So even if you don't think casting directors are immoral or illegal to casting directors, they're illegal or immoral to actors to attend them, because you are basically trying to bribe someone to get you an opportunity. And you know it in your heart. And don't lie to me and don't lie to anyone else, because you're just fooling yourself, right? It's those people that says, I love casting director workshops. I don't see what's wrong with them. Well, you're screwed, because you don't have any morals. You don't have any moral compass. You can't think things through. You're not thinking things through. If everybody behaved that way, everybody would be bribing for every job, so there would be no advantage to it, right? Would it just go to the highest bidder? No talent? I mean, that's basically what you're saying when you don't see what's wrong with it. So if you can't see what's wrong with it, then try to think about what's wrong with it. Try to figure it out. Why is it illegal to bribe people? Ask yourself that. Because if you don't understand that, then you have a very simplistic view of the world, and you don't really think anything through. You just do what everybody else is doing, and that's easier than thinking for yourself. And that's a problem, okay? You need to learn how to think for yourself. And, if you can't and you don't want to, fine. But you're severely limiting your capabilities and your potential in life. So anyway, I don't know if any of this sounds like Jordan Peterson. I feel like he tries to be commonsensical when possible. He also has a few, opinions with which I don't really agree fully. He gets into religion a bit, which, whatever. But I think overall, he really wants people to succeed, or at least to understand that they have the ability to succeed, to do whatever it is they want to do. But he also agrees, and this is where I chime in, and I didn't get this idea from him, but it's up to you to take responsibility for yourself. And that's the good news and the bad news. The good news is, yeah, man, you can do anything you want. The bad news is, yeah, man, you have to do it. Nobody else can do it for you. And you can't blame others, okay? Don't put it on casting directors, and for God's sake, don't put the responsibility of your success on an agent. That would be like saying the responsibility of an accountant's success is a recruiter or the HR department. Really? Or some online, job website like Glassdoor, Indeed, Monster.com, whomever. It's nobody else's responsibility but you. And that doesn't mean you filled out the forms online. It means you did everything you could possibly think of to make sure that the people who are decision makers, who are dying to meet you because you have something to offer them, that they know you exist and what your capabilities are, okay? And whether they can use exactly your strongest skills right now, or whether they can just use your most basic skills right now, like your ability to clean toilets or make coffee or shovel cow shit in the pasture, whatever it is, they need to know you. They need to know you exist. And then if you start at the bottom level, which is the easiest, trying to get an acting job is the hardest because casting happens very infrequently, right? Like each producer only casts maybe once a year, twice a year, maybe in television, they cast every week for 10, 20 weeks. But look, it's not what they spend most of their time doing. Most of the time, they're trying to figure out how to make the darn stuff, okay? And casting is way down the road. But guess what? If you get in front of those people and you help them out in some really, low level, high level, whatever, computer programming or digging ditches, walking their kids to school, whatever it is, if you help them in that and then you see other opportunities, they'll be more than happy to let you try these other opportunities because they want people around who they know, like, and trust and can do things for them. And so you can just keep reaching out and reaching higher and higher levels of help for these people. And then they will continue allowing you to help them because why wouldn't they, right? You're in the family now. And so if you see an acting role that comes up when that time comes along, they're going to go, yeah, sure. What are they going to turn you down? Because if they turn you down, they know I'm just trying to hold this person back, and they're probably going to go somewhere else where they will continue to have more opportunities because they seek higher and higher level opportunities. So most people are clued in, especially decision makers. They're generally creative people. So when they try to promote people to reward them, because A, they want to help them because this person has helped them, and B, they want to keep them around selfishly, okay? So you can have a dual desire to see someone grow, but also having them grow in your presence and helping your company and you personally is a smart move for both people. It's a win-win. And that's how I believe everything should operate. It should always be on a win-win-win-win basis, right? Like whoever are the parties, if you can make sure everybody else is winning, they will be happy, and you're probably going to find that there's a win in there for you. It might not be the immediate second, but just knowing these people is the biggest win you can ever hope for. I rarely audition now. Any acting jobs I do mostly are handed to me from people I know. And it's not because I'm the greatest actor in the world. I'll tell you that. I don't even know if I'm a good actor. I think I'm terrible, but people keep hiring me. So, all evidence to the contrary, I don't know, maybe I'm an okay actor. I do certain things well enough to get hired by some of the biggest people in the business. So, and the only reason they hire me is because they know me, and they know, not because I'm the best guy for the job, they know I can do the job, and they know who I am. and they've worked with me before. And so who am I going to go? Am I going to open this up to 10,000 people across the internet and a bunch of slimy agents who can't even be bothered picking up the phone to let me know that they've got the greatest candidate on earth for this? Am I going to let them have it, or am I going to let DPG have this role or offer it to him because he's done good for me before? He's a pleasure to work with, and you know, if I give him some more information, he can make changes to his performance. So yeah, that's all I got to say for now. Am I the new Jordan Peterson? Am I the Jordan Peterson of acting? Maybe to the extent that I try to share common sense advice. I try to help actors help themselves. I don't want to always have to tell you what to do over and over, right? The whole, you know, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a day, or sorry, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a life. I want to teach you how to fish. But you've got to put it on yourself and stop with the partying, stop with the results-oriented behavior. Like, oh, I didn't get, you know, somebody didn't tell me I'm amazing or I'm good looking or I'm whatever today. Do stuff for yourself. The doing is its own reward. It's not for the awards. Awards are almost like a joke. Like, a bunch of other people like what you did. Well, you're not doing it for everyone else. Because would you not do it at all if you weren't getting patted on the back or patted on the head? That's how a child thinks, right? Like, I don't know what to do other than I need to eat and, you know, I want love and attention. But other than that, I don't know what to do, right? So I'm looking for cues, like do stuff that makes your parents smile at you. Oh, okay, so I'll do that. Well, that's what children do. It's they do stuff for others to pat them on the head. But you want to do stuff when you're an adult that's going to make you inherently happy. And you got to try and take others out of the equation. You got to go, what will make me truly happy? Because that is truly sustainable. Anything else, eventually you're going to hit the wall when you're done trying to make somebody else happy. Because there is no making others happy. There is only making yourself happy. So trying to make others happy is a huge exercise in frustration and futility. So really spend some time on trying to figure out what is going to make you happy. And it better not be the awards. Thank you so much. I mean, that's a joke. Okay, that's a joke. If that's how you think, you know, I'm not talking to you. It's the doing, okay? Like, as the learning the material, reading about the material, learning about the people involved, learning about yourself, what, you know, learning to trust your instincts, learning to trust who you are, that work. And then getting involved with the people who make what you want to be involved in, getting involved in them. And the day you walk in the office, you should be thrilled, not because you're going to get an acting role, but because, wow, I'm doing it. I'm on my way. What is it that needs to be done, sir? What is it that needs to be done, ma'am? I am here to help you out, because if you help them out, then they'll be like, wow, this person's awesome. I mean, where were you all my life, David? That's the response you want to get, right? Because then they're going to go, you know, well, who knows what they're going to do, but what you should be doing is looking for other things to do, looking to help out at higher and higher levels, and eventually you'll be able to help them out any way you want, and then they'll just talk to everybody about you, which is what happens to me. People talk about me. I didn't know about it. I just find out about it. And before you know it, you'll be booking professional acting jobs and you can call yourself a professional actor. So, Jordan Peterson, Tony Robbins, no, please. It's just common sense. That's what I want to share. And I don't think there's one thing that I would share with an actor that wouldn't work equally well in literally any other process in life, whether that's developing personal relationships or developing other professional relationships, working in any other industries, medicine, accounting, law, scuba diving. It's all the same, guys. It's all the same. Figure out who you are, what you want to do. Figure out who the people are that are connected to it. Figure out what can you do to help those people, and then go offer to help them. And if you can't get to the people you really want to help right away, don't worry about it. Look at the world as a bullseye, like a dartboard, okay? So at the very center, there's the bullseye. So that's the person you want to talk to. then there's rings that expand, from there. So the next, somebody who knows them, works with them directly, great. Hook up with them, because you're one layer of Kevin Bacon away from the person you wanted to talk to. 2 rings away, 3 rings, it doesn't matter. Like if you wanted to meet a producer, you could end up helping the person who does post-production for a show or movie that they work on. And if you develop a good relationship with them, they'd be more than happy to introduce you to the producer. It's happened to me. It's funny. Almost everything I will ever tell you has either happened to me or it's happening to one of my clients. So I know every single thing of which I speak is 100% true. And that's why I am the best coach in Hollywood. Now, that's something Jordan Peterson might not say because I don't think he knows what he's the best at. But I do know I'm the best at what I do. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. If you like this, like it. If you want to see more, got any questions, let me know. And what else? Subscribe and you can get more egotistical videos like this one. I'll talk to you soon.